All right, let's dive right into this explainer and demystify the chemistry behind your saltwater pool. If you own one, you know it's a massive investment. But trying to keep that water crystal clear and your equipment running smoothly can sometimes feel like a total guessing game. Well, today we are taking the guesswork completely out of the equation. Picture this. You walk out to your pool pad and there it is, that dreaded, flashing, low salt error on your chlorinator. Your gut reaction? Probably just dump more salt in the water, right? Well, hold on a second. That warning light might actually be a massive red flag that your equipment is quietly working itself to death. We're going to figure out exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how to stop it.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll cover finding the ideal salt level, doing the salt math, choosing the right salt, exactly how to add and remove it, and finally, troubleshooting those tricky salt generators.
Kicking things off with part 1, the ideal salt level. So why does precise salinity even matter so much? It all comes down to hitting this absolute Goldilocks zone of 3,200 parts per million. To wrap your head around that, 1 part per million of salt in water is like 0.001 grams. We're talking about a seriously specific dilution here. Now sure, your manufacturer's safe range might drift anywhere from 2,700 to 4,500, but nailing that 3,200 mark, that's what keeps your system humming at peak efficiency. But what happens if you miss that mark? Well, if you run it too low, your generator literally can't produce enough chlorine. Hello, bacteria and algae breakouts. Even worse, the cell has to work overtime just to convert whatever little salt is actually in there, which absolutely kills its lifespan. On the flip side, if you dump too much in and push it past 5,000 ppm, your water turns actively corrosive. It'll literally start eating away at your metal hardware and pool surfaces. So yeah, it's a super delicate balance.
Moving right along to part 2, doing the salt math.
Honestly, the absolute easiest way to figure this out is just grabbing a manufacturer chart. You find your pool volume in gallons across the top, match it with your current salt level on the side, and boom, it tells you exactly how many pounds of salt you need to add. No brainpower required. But what if you threw that manual away 5 years ago? Don't panic. We can actually calculate this manually, and I promise it's not that scary. You just take your pool volume, multiply it by 8.35, and then multiply that by your target salt increase in thousands. So let's say you want to hit 3,500 ppm, but you're sitting at 2,300. You need a 1,200 ppm bump. In thousands, that's 0.0012. Run those numbers, and you get a dead accurate target so you never overshoot. To put this into perspective, let's say you're balancing a fresh 10,000-gallon pool right from zero. You're going to need about 267 pounds of salt. Since pool salt universally comes in 40-pound bags, you are literally going to be lugging 6 or 7 of those bad boys from the hardware store. Even just topping up a 12,000-gallon pool takes 5 full bags. It's an absolute workout, which is exactly why picking the correct type of salt is so crucial. Which brings us perfectly to part 3, choosing the right salt. Okay, this little salt showdown is going to make your next trip to the store incredibly easy. First up, solar salt. This is basically just evaporated seawater. Sounds nice, until you realize it leaves behind dead brine shrimp, yep, literal sea monkeys, and dead bacteria. That organic junk just forces your salt cell to work overtime to clean it up. Then you've got mechanically evaporated salt. It burns off the organics, sure, but it leaves behind mineral contaminants like iron and copper. Those can permanently stain your pool plaster in a matter of minutes. No thanks. So, the undisputed champion, mined salt. It's 95% pure or better, it won't stain your concrete, and it keeps your generator perfectly happy. All right, part 4, adding and removing salt. First rule of pool salt, do not, under any circumstances, dump it straight into the skimmer. Please. Instead, follow these exact steps. Spread the bags out and pour the salt gradually around the perimeter or down in the shallow end. Then, grab your pool brush and sweep whatever settles on the bottom toward the main drains. That really kickstarts the circulation. Finally, leave your pump running and walk away. Give it a solid 12 to 24 hours to completely dissolve before you even think about retesting the water. Seriously, patience is your best friend here. Now, here is a super counterintuitive fact about saltwater setups. You'd think the salt gets used up over the summer, right? It actually doesn't. Your generator converts the salt into chlorine. That chlorine sanitizes the water and then, get this, it reverts right back into salt. It's this incredible endless loop. Since only the water evaporates out of your pool, your actual salt concentration naturally just creeps up and up over time. Because that salt literally never leaves the water, we have to face a pretty harsh reality. If you mess up your math, or if massive evaporation pushes you way past that 5,000 mark, you can't just chemically erase the salt. There's no magical neutralizing powder you can drop in. You simply have to bite the bullet, partially drain your pool, and replace it with fresh water to dilute it down. That is the only way out.
And finally, part 5, troubleshooting salt generators.
Okay, let's circle back to that annoying flashing warning light from earlier. This is wild, but most salt generators don't even have a dedicated salt sensor inside them. They actually use a complex algorithm based on water temperature, voltage, and amperage just to guess your salt levels. That means if your water dips below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, or if you've got some calcium gunk built up on the cell plates, the algorithm totally freaks out. It'll flash a deceptive, low salt warning right in your face, even if your water chemistry is absolutely flawless.
So naturally, you might be tempted to yank that cell out and blast it with acid every single time the light blinks, just to clear off the calcium. But wait, here's the twist. Vigorously cleaning that cell too often is actually a terrible idea. That acid actively eats away at the special microscopic coating on the plates that makes the whole electrolysis process work. Overcleaning will literally destroy your expensive equipment faster than if you just ignored it. You really only want to clean it when you can clearly see significant crusty buildup.
And keep in mind, these cells only have a natural lifespan of about 2 to 7 years anyway. So the next time that warning light starts glaring at you, just take a step back. Manually test your water to see if the chemistry is actually off. Check your water temperature. Check for real calcium buildup. Ask yourself, is your salt cell actually telling you the truth? Or is it just a dying piece of hardware crying for retirement? And honestly, it makes you wonder, what other hidden algorithms are quietly running your backyard oasis right now, completely behind your back?